Hi, hello, good morning, everyone. This is a part of ICT tools training video series. Today, I'm going to talk about the ways of improving your HIndex. I am Vigneshwaran Swaminathan from Division of Physics, School of Advanced Sciences, Vellore Institute of Technology, Chennai campus. So we'll begin with a brief definition of HIndex and item index. Then we'll move on to list of things to consider before and after publication to have a better HIndex and citations. So what is HIndex? HIndex is one of the author impact metrics, which indicates the impact of the publications of an author. H-index corresponds to an author's H number of articles that have each been cited at least for H times. On the other hand, I-10 index refers to the number of articles with minimum 10 or more citations. I thought of giving you an example with a profile. So Noel Clark is a professor in University of Colorado. He is very famous in my particular research field, soft matter physics. Here is the list of citations and other metrics of this particular author, which is taken from the Google Scholar. So you can see he has a huge number of citations, and his H index is 86, which means 86 of his articles have been cited at least 86 times each. Each of the 86 articles have been cited at least 86 times. And his I-10 index is 389, which means 389 articles of his have been cited at least minimum of 10 citations. So now we will see what are all the list of important points that has to be considered before publication. So to begin with, try to address unsolved problem or unanswered question in your particular research field. Uh, uh, for an example, try to consider your research domain as a puzzle and try to find the particular missing piece in your puzzle and try to solve that particular problem. This will right away will give you a huge impact in your particular research domain, which will eventually increase your metrics. Uh, Another thing is try to find the cutting edge research area or ongoing active research happening in your particular research domain. This will put you in front of your, it will put you in front in the research race. This will keep you active, and this will bring a greater reach in terms of global terms. And do not miss to cite your previous papers. So whenever and when and where in the most relevant places, always try to cite your previous papers. This is very important, and it's always have to be in our mind. But it's also important that just don't do it to increase your citation count. It has to be more. It has to be very relevant in terms of you citing your own paper. Make sure you have cited all the relevant articles from oldest and newest in terms of the time or the history of that particular research. It's very important. It covers the entire aspect of your research domain, which also gives you a very nice research article at the end. On the other hand, like we are happy when we are getting cited, the researchers across the globe will be happy when they get cited, which when in turn they will remember you and they will remember that you are an active research person in that particular domain, which will eventually increase. And whenever they are doing some future work in that particular area, they will remember to cite you, and which will eventually increase your citation. And another important thing is to uh, carefully choose keywords, and it should also be an attractive keywords. This is because whenever a researcher go to a database and try to find an article, so he or she would have a set of keywords, and you'd be searching, and the search engine promotes the paper which has the best match for those keywords. So if your paper has some of the best match of the keywords or the famous keywords which is active in your research community, that will help you to promote your paper in terms of the search engine. Also use the keywords and phrases, key phrases in your title, abstract, and body repeatedly to have a better search engine filtration. Then we'll move on. Then the next part is, so let's say you are in the final stage of your article and you're ready to submit that particular article. And before or while submitting your article, you can parallelly upload it to archive.org. This is a platform where the papers or research articles are allowed to upload even before the publication. So this will give you, and when you circulate this particular news around your community, this will give you a greater reach. And there are some preliminary mandatory things that has to be taken care of, like use a consistent name across your research paper. Let's say you've been active in your research for 10 years. You have to make sure that your names appear the same in all the articles which you publish. This will give you a refined database for your particular name. Then make sure all the information in the article is completely correct. For example, your name, your affiliation, your contact details. Always make sure repeatedly that these informations are correct. With this, I will also like to highlight few important points which are very important always in research and in publications. Always stay updated in your field. This is very important. So we should be aware of all the research happening in our domain from the numerous different research groups across the world. This will make sure that we are being in a cutting edge research. We're not missed out. We're not repeating some others research. This is very, very important. For that, subscribing relevant newsletters is very important. All the journal articles have an option. All the journals have an option that you can subscribe, and you can subscribe an email notification when and where an article based on your keywords or based on your domain getting published. You will get a notification so that you can go through that particular article and you can stay updated in your field. And always choose most appropriate journal, because in the people so when you choose a most appropriate journal, the audience of that particular journal will be more relevant for your particular research, and your number of reads of your article will be increased. If you don't publish in an appropriate journal, then the people might not be interested in your paper, and your and the paper reads might go down, which will eventually reduce the citation. And another most important thing is constructive criticism and reasoning. This is again a most important aspect in terms of research community. For an example, let's say you publish a paper with a model B, which is much more better than the model A, which has been published by another group uh, years ago. Um, but you have, when you give a detailed explanation, a proper constructive criticism of the previous model, and avoiding all any sort of conflicts between the different research groups, and when you provide a complete reasoning of your particular criticism, you will be for sure appreciated in your research community, and this gives you a very positive image in your research community. This is considered to be very important. With this, we'll finish the number of points which has to be considered before the publication. We'll move on to the after publication. What are all the things that can be done? So I was trying to express this in terms of this particular image. So the innermost circle represents the mandatory important things that has to be considered after the publication, and going away are optional but also recommended to be done in order to have a better global reach. So to begin with, when the moment after you publish a paper, always send an email to all your collaborators, all your research acquaintances, all the people across the globe who are in that particular research domain, and send an email, personal email, with the article or without the article, or just notify them, so and so myself has been published an article on this particular problem. Your valuable comments will be appreciated. This is like just a simple template for that particular email, and this will give an enormous amount of reach for your paper. This has to be followed by all of us whenever we publish a paper. This will increase your read. This will make them remember that you are active in your field. This will increase your citation. Eventually, your H-index will be increased. On the other hand, it's very mandatory. Everybody will know that we have to be actively participating in all the possible conferences which is happening across the globe. So do not miss out any conferences. Try to present your research article in all the conferences, your particular research work in all the conferences. This will in turn also increase your number of citations. Moving on to the outer circle, there are n number of online research platforms from different sources, which can be a database, which can be a kind of a research social media, and there are n number of them. I would recommend all of you to have a profile on all these online platforms, which is shown here. This will again portray your research to a global audience. So we cannot be sending out but our particular research to each and every people who are included in our research domain. But so these platforms will help you to achieve that. So all the people who are interested in that particular research will also be in these platforms. Whenever you show an update, they will have a read on your particulars. So to begin with, I recommend all of you to start with creating an ID in ORCID. So this particular logo refers an ORCID online portal. The reason why I want to start with an ORCID ID is that when you start with an ORCID ID, it will be very easy for you to integrate with all the other research profiles like Manly, Pablons, Academia, Google Scholar, Web of Science, so and so. So it's always good to start with an ORCID ID. If you don't have an ORCID ID already, start with that, and then I recommend to go on to the other online research platforms. And we all might have known the famous ResearchGate. It's one of the very active research social media, I would like to call it. So an active participation in ResearchGate also promotes you as a better researcher, which will eventually increase your metrics. You can try to answer all the questions which has been asked relevant to your particular area of research. You can constantly upload all types of research articles, conference publications, or any news which comes in your particular research to stay active in a ResearchGate. And you can also upload the full text of the articles depending on the copyright policy of the particular journal which you are publishing. So you can try to upload the full text in all these online platforms. Moving on, to gain even more international or global reach, we can try to promote our paper in famous social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And so this will ensure that you have a better reach of your articles. And why not make a YouTube video of your particular based on your particular article which has been just published? You can make a 5-minute video talking about the concepts and models and results which have been obtained in that particular article, and then you can send out that video to a person. So we can try to change the overall research communication to the current trend. On the left side, you can see a colored circle and number 10 inside. So you might be wondering what is this. So this is something called This is something called altmetric, which is being followed by the Thomson and Reuters group, who's currently maintaining the Web of Science. So the altmetrics, the number represents the number of times your articles has been mentioned in one of these social media or media or in news. So so anybody can take your article, and let's say if they find it interesting, they can repost it in their own social media feed, and this number will get increased. The more the number, the more the reach it is. For an example, for the current scenario, all the research articles which are trying to solve the current global pandemic issues, coronavirus related researchers, will have huge number of altmetrics, because whatever is happening in terms of that particular research will be spreaded across the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Then this the automatic will obviously go higher. So when you also try to try to promote your people through the social media, your altimetric will also go high. When it's a very simple relation. When your altimetric is high, your the chances of getting citation is also high, and your reach is also high. So with this, I'd like to conclude. So the H-index and I-10 index represents your impact in the research community. The outcome of your article in terms of citation, H-index, and all the other indices begins from the very first of the article. This has to be considered. So, so we cannot ignore the points that has to be considered before publication. Promotion of article promotion of article in research community and social media plays a vital role for better reads. With this, I wish you all the best to all of you for an exciting and fruitful research life. Thank you.